Congratulations to the Golden State Warriors and especially Andrew Wiggins. I mean, Andrew Wiggins was absolutely amazing in the finals. He was probably the Warriors' second best scorer, the best rebounder, second best defender, all around a decent playmaker, wasn't really turning it over too much, just all around doing his role. Absolutely amazing, and I cannot be happier for him. But there comes a time where sometimes teams just are paying too much money and you need to get rid of these players, okay? And it might not seem like a big deal to anyone who's not like a Warriors fan, but the Warriors are paying a lot of money, and sometimes you can just get away with it with bird rights, but this time I think it's inevitable that one of the big five of Curry, Clay, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins, and Poole is gonna have to leave, and we all know Wiggins is the odd man out. The Golden State Warriors this year have spent more than $200 million than the average NBA team, which is crazy, impossible due to the luxury tax, because this ain't soccer. And even though the Warriors could have a very good chance of winning back-to-back with this roster, at the end of the day, it's a business. And the Sporting News says this is the fourth time in 5 years they've led the NBA in total money spent on their roster. In the last 2 seasons, they've spent $632 million on their roster, including luxury tax payments. $632 million over 2 years is absolutely nuts to me. And if you still aren't convinced that there might be some concern, there has been grumbling between other team owners about how it is unfair that the Warriors are able to spend so much money. And I've never even heard that in my life, owners being, at least since, bird rights were created, that the owners being mad at a team for spending too much money, because the penalty is huge. But I mean, I guess if you're the Warriors and you're winning championships and you're selling tickets, it might be worth it. But yeah, that is why I think the Warriors should trade Andrew Wiggins. But will they? I don't know about that. But just listen to this. The trio of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green by itself is making $114 million next year. And with Andrew Wiggins being on the last year of his contract, the Warriors will be in the luxury tax once again with only those 4 players. Let alone the fact that doesn't even include Wiseman's contract right now, Moody's contract right now, Kuminga, all of them top picks, Jordan Poole under contract, and the players who are free agents like Gary Payton, Kevon Looney, and Otto Porter Jr. So Warriors fans, you absolutely love him. He's and to be honest, he is the most likable, because I know a lot of people don't like Steph Curry. I like Steph Curry. It's kind of weird that people don't, but Andrew Wiggins to the outside world is the most likable Warrior in the franchise, and he's the only reason y'all aren't clear enemy number 1. And as crazy as it is to say, a 6'8" defensive wing that can shoot the ball and penetrate at an elite level is pretty in demand. Like that's kind of like what's making the league right now, just having those wings. I feel like wings are even more important than guards nowadays. And to be honest, when you're a big market like Golden State, you really don't even need to pay a guy like Andrew Wiggins $30 million. At that point, I would just try and go and chase a star, once Poole and Kuminga and Moody are all in the main core. And there are a lot of teams that, don't get the free agents, so Andrew Wiggins would be a huge addition for them, and they'd be willing to pay a little bit more. Because yeah, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond are all under contract for the next couple years, and then if you re-signed Poole and Wiggins, all 5 of them would equal $169 million for 1 year, and that does not include the luxury tax yet. Once you include the luxury tax and then all the players and all that, if you kept them all, yeah, you'd easily be paying at least $400 over 1 year, which is just, you're definitely losing money. So here are a couple teams that I think Andrew Wiggins could be traded to, and I think it wouldn't be that much of a loss. You're not necessarily going to win because, when a player's on his contract year, it's just you're not going to get anything back because there's a risk. But yeah, I think the Orlando Magic have plenty of cap space for next season, and it doesn't seem like they are bringing back Mo Bamba because they have the number 1 pick, and they're probably going to pick either Chet or Jabari or Banchero. It's most likely, leaning toward Jabari. But either way, I don't think the Magic is just going to bring back Mo Bamba to put him on the bench. Even if Mo Bamba ends up leaving Orlando and going to a team to go on the bench, I don't think Orlando will sign him to be a bench guy. But pretty much, not only can the Orlando Magic be able to afford Andrew Wiggins right now, but they have the cap room to sign him for a long extension after his deal is over. All around, I think he'd be a good fit in Orlando. You already have Suggs. Suggs has already shown amazing defensive potential and playmaking potential. Maybe his shooting isn't there. He had like one of the worst efficiency seasons of all time. And what I mean all time, like it was bad. But you have Wagner, you'll have Wiggins, you'll have Jabari Smith, you'll have Wendell. That's just a very good core. Cole Anthony off the bench or maybe starting, I don't know. And they'd be willing to give up a decent bit to get that core. Now, who do the Warriors get back? Well, first off, the Magic need to give up a future first round pick, protected or unprotected. Either way, if they're trading for Andrew Wiggins, they hope probably in the next 2 to 3 years to be in playoff contention. So the pick's going to be probably around the 16 to 20 range, hopefully, at least for the Magic. And I think there's a bunch of players that are way cheaper than Wiggins and or on a long-term good deal. Because to be honest, the Warriors already have the firepower. They have Steph Curry, Draymond, Klay Thompson. I think he's going to have a lot better of a season this next upcoming year than last year. You have Kuminga coming up. You have Moody. You have Jordan Poole for sure. All you need is some really good role players. And that is why the Orlando Magic could be giving up Chuma Okeke. He's a good defending wing who's about 24 years old and is only getting paid about an average of $4.2 million over the next 2 years, making a total of $8.4 million. And even after that contract's over, when you re-sign him if you want to, he's not going to be that expensive. That is, unless he just absolutely shows he's amazing for the Warriors and then leaves with getting like $15 million a year. That could always happen. But yeah, I really think, the signs that Kuminga showed this season, I think next season they should really try and prioritize making him the starting spot. So they shouldn't even really need a Wiggins kind of starter. They should need someone off the bench. Another bench guy that they can get is Markelle Fultz. I think Markelle Fultz, he's just so skilled, and because of the injuries and, because he was a #1 pick, people always, just view him in a negative connotation. But I think he could be really good as a backup point guard. And the Warriors already have Gary Payton and Jordan Poole, but Gary Payton plays huge. Like, that dude could play the small forward position. Markelle is getting paid $16 million next year and $17 million the year after that. So, I mean, he could be very good. Eventually when his contract's up, you let him go, but he's going to give you an extra year than Wiggins would, and he's obviously saving you money. But if you're a Warriors fan, maybe you're not really that impressed with that package at all, and I'd completely understand, even though Andrew Wiggins is on an expiring contract, and honestly, you'd never really get too much from expiring contracts, because you could trade for a player on an expiring contract and they could just leave next year. But a really good piece that the Warriors might want is Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac, he missed like almost an entire 2 years of basketball. I think the last time I remember him playing was when he was in the bubble, but when he was playing, he showed that he was an elite level defender. I mean, like, first team all defense. And I feel like a lot of these players who have really like been hurt for like 1 to 2 years have really gotten, maybe not physically as an athlete better, but like skill wise, like Jonathan Isaac might come back as a shooter, maybe not like a 40% shooter, but at least league average. And that was his biggest flaw. He was an offensive, not a liability, but he just really wasn't good on offense for how good he was on defense. So yeah, if the Warriors traded for Jonathan Isaac, I mean, he's getting paid about half of what Wiggins is getting right now, and he's on a longer contract, so you can keep him for more years. But man, a defensive duo of Draymond Green and Jonathan Isaac, I mean, no one is scoring. So yeah, you're trading for a potential starting small forward or a sixth man as a defender, I don't know, or maybe even have Kuminga off the bench. But overall, for what you're getting, I'd rather just get this deal than get nothing back for Wiggins. And even, getting Jonathan Isaac, he should be back next season. You can win a championship with him. This isn't like you're giving up on going back to back. So yeah, Wiggins trade value, it isn't really at its highest, but these pieces could set up your future. The next team I could see the Warriors trading Andrew Wiggins to is the Indiana Pacers. I think Indiana is thirsty for talent and would love Wiggins, and unlike most rebuilding teams with cap space like the Orlando Magic, the Pacers actually have talent. I think Wiggins for Miles Turner with maybe an additional piece would be great for the Warriors, because they could get a reliable big back who can shoot the three, play elite defense. I just talked about Jonathan Isaac and Draymond Green as a duo on defense. Miles Turner and Draymond Green in a front court is just absolutely insane. Like, that's so much defense, and Miles Turner can roll to the basket if you want. Rebounding wise, he's not the best, but you already have, Draymond Green. I feel like he'll be fine. And even the Warriors with Wiggins, and Wiggins was really good at rebounding, still got out rebounded in the finals and still won. Like, you can win series getting out rebounded. That is when you have Steph Curry on your team. But yeah, Miles Turner is very reliable, at least when he's on the court, because he does have a lot of injury problems. But I think there's an NBA team out in free agency willing to pay Kevon Looney $10 million a year, and I'm not sure if the Warriors are willing to do that because they have to give out so much money. So yeah, both James Wiseman and Miles Turner have had their injury problems, so you at least hope that one is healthy at all times, and if one is, then I think the Warriors can easily go back to back. So what do you guys think? The Warriors do not absolutely need to trade Andrew Wiggins. They could easily go back to back next year, as no one besides Iguodala is at a true regression age. I mean, I guess Steph Curry's like, what, 34, 33, but you're not really truly regressing until you hit like 35, 36, so there's still one more year. I mean, yeah, look at Chris Paul, look at LeBron James. Those are like incredible exceptions. I mean, LeBron spends millions on his body, and Chris Paul is like vegan now, I don't know. And yeah, I think Klay Thompson should be better. Draymond Green, I think maybe he gets a little bit worse, but he should be fine. The Warriors can still go back to back, but even if they keep Wiggins to go back to back, they can either win and let go of Wiggins or lose and let go of Wiggins in free agency. Either way, I just don't see a world where they keep him. And personally, I wouldn't, but I could understand it. So let me know in the comments, should the Warriors trade Andrew Wiggins or lose him for nothing? Like the video to share it, and subscribe for more NBA offseason videos. Peace.